Good afternoon and welcome back. So in this lecture we will be looking at the migration of content from one project to another, which is really handy, but there are a few things where if you do it wrong it will just break through the Unreal Engine, so we just need to quickly make sure that we're doing this properly. Now the content we'll be grabbing is something inside of the content examples. So as I've mentioned in the past, if you haven't already downloaded this package, just follow the previous lecture and make sure that that's installed and ready to use. So with this available, if we double click on this and we'll open the content examples. Okay, with that loaded, you should be greeted with this page. Now all we need to do is find a couple of particle effects, and I know the name of them. So if we go to the filters bar just here and search for the word pixel. Okay, and over here there are in fact two that we want. We have a small explosion, which is just called p-pixel explosion, p for particle, and p-pixel explosion enemy, or p-pixel explosion player. If we double click these, we'll get an example. We can see that this is just a small explosion going on over here with some orange cubes, and this is just a small explosion going on with blue cubes. So both particle effects are actually exactly the same, so it doesn't matter which of these we choose, as we're going to be changing the colour and a lot of the values to them anyway. But we do want the p-pixel explosion as well. So select the p-pixel explosion and either p-pixel explosion enemy or player. I'm just going to go with the enemy option because it's closer. And simply right click on this. And what we want to do is look for asset actions, which is here, and we want to migrate it. So when we migrate assets from one project to another, what it will do is any textures, materials, or any sort of underlying metadata that's involved in the working of that asset, it will make sure that that gets pulled across as well. Whereas if we were to export it, that will just export that very specific object in the project, and you may miss things and that would stop things working. So if we select migrate, there we go, we can see here that it's bringing a few folders with it, which we'll clear up later. It's bringing the materials, the textures, and the effects as well. So everything will be working in our project. So if we select OK, and then what we want to do is select the location we want this to go. So this is where you need to remember the directory that you've saved your project. So mine was on the D drive, projects, Udemy, Unreal 4, and remember I've called it space shooter template. And then under here, once you find your the space shooter template, you need to make sure that you've selected the content folder as well. So all of this needs to be migrated to the content folder of our current project. If you put it anywhere else in the art folder or audio or blueprints or anything else like that you may have made, that again can cause problems and some of the assets may come across and not work. So make sure it's in the content folder. And in fact, if you select any other folder, you normally get a warning saying just that if you leave it here it may break, essentially. So with the content folder selected inside of the project we're making, select OK. And we'll see down here it says the content migration completed successfully. So we can close this, go back to our space shooter template, and we can see down here we now have our example content, which is what we've just brought across. It has our effects, it has the texture that it's using, it has the transparent flare material that it's using, which is great, saves us time making that, and we have, most importantly, the effects under the effects folder here. So I'm not too happy with the new folder structure. I didn't really want that there, but we did need it to come across to make sure it works. But now this is in the project, what we can do is under the art folder we will create a new folder called particles. With the particle folder ready, we can drop these down. So we'll also make a new folder under the art folder called materials as well whilst we're doing this. So just remembered we want that material. So first of all, if we go to effects and materials and drag that into the material folder, move here, we can grab the textures and get the sunflower and put that in our texture folder. And then we can grab these two particles and we'll put that in our particles folder. And we can, for now, take that material and put it in the materials folder. We'll probably get rid of that later, but that's fine. And one final thing to mention, a small quirk I found with the engine is that if we were to delete the example content folder now from inside of the engine, on occasions it can keep a reference to it, so it will try and add it back in. After you close it and reopen the project, it will try and add the folder back in and it will just reappear, and it seems like it will never go away. So to avoid this happening, what we do is we will right click on the folder, we will show an explorer, so you'll get this window. We need to close the project, so make sure you've saved and closed that. And then we just want to go back one folder to the content folder, so we can see our example content folder now, which is one we want to get rid of, as we won't be using it, and simply delete it from outside of the project from the System Explorer window. So that just makes sure that now if we close that and reopen our project, that folder will be gone and it will remain gone. There you go. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. If you ever forget that and you just automatically think, oh, I don't need that folder anymore, I'll delete that, and next time you open the project it is back, hopefully this will come to mind and you'll know how to fix it. So there we go. We now have the particle systems available for use, and in fact we can just double check that they still work. So if we drag those into the world, there we go, we have a couple of little explosions. So nothing great at the moment, but they're there, ready for use. So you now know two ways to bring things into the project. You can do it either locally by importing, or you can migrate things from other projects. Very handy. So that's everything for this lecture, and I will see you in the next one.